unfair to whoever made you.
What's up, YouTube? Okay, so today I'm going to be talking about the story that led to the beginning of my real musical career, where I was able to actually have the tools to make real quality music, just learn how to express myself and how to be a musician. And it came out of one beautiful relationship that was a little messy, a lot of pain and youth and lessons, and it was one of my first real relationships. So it was a huge learning curve going on in my life, musically, romantically, spiritually, a lot of layers there. This was right back in the time when I was like, I'm gonna use dating apps to try to connect with people musically. Bad idea, don't do that. I'll make a whole nother video about why I don't believe in dating apps. Not necessarily not for everyone, just not for me. It doesn't work for people that are like me. But that's a whole nother video, as I said. So 2015, 16 here, was on Bumble, met this guy, met up with him. He was super sweet. And I remember him just looking over at me and being like, would you ever date anyone younger? And I was like, well, my first love was way younger. So yeah. And immediately introduces me to his mom, and we become inseparable and start hanging out all the time. Now, eventually I learned that one of the draws for him to me was that I had a Mercedes and was from Malibu. He went back to his friends and that's what he told them about me. So that was a little discouraging to find out, but it was also a good lesson for me to learn. If you're gonna go around flaunting these kind of things, this is what people are gonna see. And if you want people to see your personality, you have to put your personality first, if that makes sense. But that was also a part of my lesson. So he and I became inseparable. One of his friends was like, I'm a music manager, I'm gonna manage you, let's get your Instagrams up. So we bought followers, which immediately regretted. It's really bad for your engagement rate. It took years for me to fix that. Do not recommend. But I learned a lot about myself. And again, we were inseparable and we were kind of like a mess. We didn't know what we were doing. We both wanted to do music. He wanted to be a DJ. I wanted to be a singer. We didn't have the right tools or a business plan. I sat down to write a business plan so many times and it was just all over the place. Well, luckily he had an incredibly talented, incredibly knowledgeable uncle. And his uncle kind of took us both under his wing and was like, I'm gonna help you guys make music. And I'll never forget the first time I went in and sang for him. He was, to my boyfriend at the time, like, why did you bring me this girl? I hadn't trained since elementary school. I just had this, one song that people liked. And I was like, you know what? I love writing. I love singing. I want to do this. So after that, I was like, I got to prove myself. I got to prove that I can do this. And I started every single day doing vocal lessons, every single day, an hour, every single day, religiously, never missed a day for months and months and months. And then I finally went back to his uncle and sang Faking It by Cascade. And I will never forget him looking at me and being like, you did it. Maybe I'm not Gaga, but you're ready to record a song. So he and I were just on this path of greatness and let's go and meet people and network. And the problem is it was just a big mess. We didn't have a really good plan. It was all over the place, and our relationship stuff started getting in the way, and fighting started and this and that. Eventually I found out he cheated. I called him out on it. He admitted it. We broke up. And so a little while goes by, we don't speak, and I'm still I'm pursuing music. I'm doing it. He was doing his own thing. I was doing my own thing. I made Where Are We Going? That song came out, I believe, 2016. Super exciting times for me, but I was focusing on my craft. Now, what nobody knew was that he and I eventually ended up rekindling our friendship. He came back, he really apologized. He was like, I want you in my life. And I was like, okay, you have a good heart. You made a mistake. We can have a friendship and we can see what happens. I had already been approached by MTV to be on this show months before we became friends again. they called me and they're like, we need to talk to all your exes. I was like, that's weird. Like, why would you need to talk to all my exes? But like, okay, you can talk to all of them except for this one, because I was still really mad at him. And they're like, well, that's one we want to talk to. And I was like, doesn't make sense. Why do you want to do that? They're like, well, we just need to vouch for your character, yada, yada. Anyways, eventually we became friends again. And I realized that they were setting us up to put us both on the same show, i.e. X on the Beach. So their thought was, we hate each other. We're never going to talk. We're never going to find out that we're both being cast on the same show. But what they didn't know is that we actually became friends again. So during that phase of our friendship, it really got messy, because then I was like, you need to be respecting me and like earning me back. And he was like, I got her back. We're friends now. We're chilling. I get the best of both worlds. So he like basically just was friends with me and had me there, but was also still talking to other girls. Big mess. We on Halloween got in a car accident. I like swear we almost died. My car flipped around like 3 times, and then once it stopped, we got smashed again. That was a very beautiful, actually eye-opening moment for us, because we had been fighting a lot, and it was like, whoa, what really matters here? Like, our lives just flashed before our eyes. Like, let's reevaluate. Basically, our relationship became all music and just trying to work and focus. It was not romantic in nature. It was just work, 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 try to support each other. But again, kind of the blind leading the blind situation. I found out about X on the Beach. I drove him to the airport to go to X on the Beach, knowing that I was going to be going next. And they didn't know that I knew, right? Then I found out that same day that he was hooking up with a girl in my car while I was at work. I was beside myself, okay? So I show up to X on the Beach pissed, like just pissed, thinking the moment I tell all the girls on the show that they're gonna have my back, they're going to like, you know, be like, oh my gosh, this guy, how can you do that? Well, that's not how TV works, and I know that now, and I would love to go back and do another reality show because I understand the game. But they didn't do that. They were like, how dare you talk badly about him? He's our friend. And I was like, excuse me? What are you talking about? They're like, you're so materialistic. Why do you care about which car he drives? I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I was so miserable on that show. When we were filming, I wanted to go die in a hole. I cried in a corner under a blanket. I just remember being like, I want to die. Like, I couldn't escape. You don't have a phone. You don't have any communication with the outside world. The only thing I was allowed to take with me was my Bible, and God bless, I was allowed to sneak in an iPod, which I would share with all of the boys when we worked out in the mornings, and eventually one of them got it taken. That was not great. But I had my Bible, and honestly, it got me through. And what's funny is I actually found workouts in my Bible, and one day I had to be stuck in a hotel room. We weren't allowed outside of the hotel room. And I was like, I need to work out or I'm gonna lose it. Like, that's what I do for my anxiety and like to feel good every morning. And I found these workouts in my Bible. And so it was like a really, really actually good time in the end, because it tested me and it helped me grow stronger. And once I was on TV in front of all of these women, like, I realized I couldn't let someone mistreat me in front of other girls, because that was saying that it's okay to be mistreated if I kept allowing it. So it was a really big learning moment for me. And then after that, we never talked again, because it was like, that was a whole mess on that show, and I was very upset. And I, to this day, do feel remorseful, because this past year, we lost him. He's no longer with us, and he had been trying to be my friend. And so looking back, I know there's a lot of talk, or people are like, you know, if someone does something or wrongs you or whatever, you gotta put your foot down. It's hard for me to be like, you know, like, never talk to any exes and like respect yourself, because you just never know what tomorrow can bring and when someone can just not be here anymore. So we were on good terms at the end, but I do think that we need to always have an open heart and a loving heart no matter what has happened. And that doesn't mean letting someone stay in your life and continue to wrong you and walk all over you. But there should be always room for forgiveness and love. And I'm so glad that we were on good terms when I lost him, because I don't know what I would have done if the last thing I had said to him, or the last time I had spoken to him, was me screaming at him or mad at him. Thankfully, when he left, my last memory was positive in nature. So that still to this day is very, very, it's crazy to me. He was very young when he passed. And so it's a very strange, sad situation. His family had to lose him, and it's just, life sometimes really takes us by surprise. So out of that whole situation, I did get a beautiful, beautiful song that I get to have in my memory forever, and that is called Where Are We Going? So stay tuned and watch it right after this. And just remember, keep your heart open and always forgive and always walk in love at all times, because you'll never regret that. Ciao. Thanks for watching.